Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of this video of the post-fight review. Today's post-fight review is of... what's the date today? It's for the Saturday to Sunday, 13th to 14th of June 2026. This week, there's only been 2 major cards, and one of them I'm not going to be covering, which is Tommy Fury, Eddie Hall, because I just don't care. So the only fight we're actually going to cover today is Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Antonio Vargas for the WBA Bantamweight Championship. And on the undercard there was, I think, there was Jonathan Rodriguez and something Cardenas for the co-main, Alifna Turhan and this, I forgot the girl's name, for the IBF, I think, women's champion. I forgot what division, and I forgot the first card on the main, first fight on the main card, but that ended in the second round stoppage, so good for him. I remember that fight, there was a guy with leopard prints on his head, so that's interesting. But other than that, just a comprehensive dominant performance from the winner. For Alifna Turhan, yikes, she has no technique. Maybe no technique is stretching a little, so I'm going to say very, very limited technique. She has what I like to call the windmill style, where she just windmills overhand rights and lefts in an attempt and hope to at least get one landed. And to be fair, she did land. But her opponent was much more fundamentally better. So I feel like a draw would have been the fair result, because I don't think any of them separated themselves enough to win. But hey, Alifna Turhan wins, retains her title, and once regarded as the boogeywoman, is that a thing? Of women's boxing, because of her knockout of Beatrice Ferreira and someone else. I forgot. Yeah. I don't know if she's that much of a boogeyman anymore, because she can be exposed very, very badly, I think, by someone who could stick a jab. But hey, she hasn't found that person yet. I don't really know much about women's boxing, so I don't know what the scope is. But hopefully, she can find someone that can actually compete, as well as her opponent did, and she can keep steadying on. For Jonathan Rodriguez and Cardenas, apparently this was a rematch, because the first fight was a draw, and Cardenas is some form of prospect under Roberto Garcia, is what I've noticed. And apparently Cardenas took the first fight way too relaxed and dismissive of Jonathan Rodriguez, I think. Based off that narrative, I think Cardenas made improvements to, what should I say, to his defense, I think, and his response, his countering was nice. He nullified a lot of Jonathan Rodriguez's offense, and he also did hurt him with good body shots, so I'll give him that. I don't think it was 100 to 90, but I think it was pretty comprehensive, like 97, 93, 98, 92. I think those are fair scorecards. But that's not what we're here for, right? We're here for Bam versus Vargas. This fight, I think it was to set up a path to Inoue, who of course is pound for pound number 1, 2. And this also makes Bam 3-division world champion. So he's officially, well, he always was, but this adds more to his pound for pound status, so that's good. Now onto the actual fight. In the first round, the first few seconds, you could immediately tell Bam's footwork is just so far superior to everyone else's around his weight class. And I don't know if it's because it was Vargas or if because Bam is just that fluid with his footwork. But Vargas looked very flat-footed and very immobile compared to him. So I think this fight was going to be dictated by the footwork of Bam. Yeah, Bam's footwork is just something to behold. First round, I think it was a Bam round, but yeah, of course, just feeling out process. So, but Bam did have some very nice work, switching the angles and using his footwork to get out of the shots Vargas was throwing. And the second and third round, I got a bit worried because I forgot which round, but Antonio Vargas's game plan was pretty good to just be a volume puncher. Not put too much power, not be reckless, but just to throw a lot of pit-pat shots with volume. And I think that can be something that can be exploited by other opponents. One notable opponent I can think of that can employ that kind of style is Sebastian Hernandez, who fought Junto Nakatani last year, December. Yeah, I did notice Bam did kind of struggle to get away from Vargas's volume. It was like near the end of the round, Bam was just on the ropes and Vargas was kind of teeing off, some landing, some on the guard. Bam wasn't like hurt or anything, but he kind of struggled. Yeah, so after 3 rounds, I did have Vargas up by 1. But then Bam, as he is, just gets a knockdown with his just phenomenal angles. What was it? Left hook to the head and then pivot out. And then Vargas down on the canvas. That was something brilliant to watch. And at that point, I was like, yeah, this is the beginning. And Vargas was definitely not recovered properly for like a minute there. And then he came back, put in his effort. But that's the 10-8 for Bam. Round 5, I think round 4 to 6 was where Bam started to adjust to the volume punching of Antonio Vargas. Round 5, yep, same thing. Elite footwork, gliding through the ring. And then round 6, of course. Yeah, so Bam's punch selection is also brilliant because he's so good at level changing. That straight to the body, jab to the body, mixing it up with a combination. It's just brilliant. There's not enough words to express just how good he is. And then the finishing sequence, a three punch combination. First to the body, second right hook to like the arms area, and the third punch was straight left to the chin of Vargas, and that was story end. Valiant effort from Vargas did show very, very little vulnerability of Bam's style, but of course Bam gets a stylish knockout to become a 3-weight world champion, flyweight, superfly, bantam. How old is he? 25, 26? And he already has this kind of resume. Carlos Cuadras, Sorong Visay, Estrada, Guevara, Fumulele Cafu, Puma Martinez, Antonio Vargas. Star-studded. Bit loud. I don't know if he has a standout win yet. I think that standout win is probably Quadras, Rungvisai, or Estrada. But I don't think he has that name that solidifies him yet. And I think he's tried to chase that name with Naoya Inoue. So what's next for Bam? Well, obviously he wants Inoue. But I think he needs to adjust to the weight. One more fight. I think he can do one more fight this year. And if I was to matchmake, what? I'm pretty sure Bam said it himself. There's another champion in 118 pounds that I think would be a perfect setup fight for Bam, provided he actually gets through it, which I think he could. But hey, more studying before I make a decision. How about Inoue's brother, Takuma Inoue? He's, I think, the WBC bantamweight champion. And if Bam beats Inoue's brother, then Inoue must want to take revenge, because he did that before. He was meant to fight Nordino Bali, I think, when he beat his brother Takuma. So he was meant to fight Nordino Bali, but then Nonito Donaire beat him, so that's why the rematch came. So obviously when Takuma does lose, Inoue sometimes would want to take revenge and fight the opponent that beat him. So if Bam does beat Takuma, hey, there's a fight. And there is the super fight of pound for pound number 3 versus number 1-2. That would be a brilliant fight of just masterclass in styles. And yeah, I think that's it for this. Some fights coming up. There's honestly not too much coming up. But for next week, there's H2O, Ashton Silve, going against Diaz, I think. Is it Ashton Silve? Yeah, it is. And then there's also Oscar Collazo, the unified minimum weight champion, going against Kanoe. I don't know much about Kanoe, so I'll do a bit of research. But yeah, this is the end of the video. Thank you everyone who tunes into this video. Goodbye.